Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison tonight. How are we doing, Harrison?
Awesome. How we doing?
Doing pretty well. Been a bachelor this weekend. A wife's away on a trip with her sister, so
Getting in trouble, are we?
It's just been me and the pups. So it's been a lot of football today, but
Nice.
Yeah, just been hanging out. All right. Before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram. You can also subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right. So before we jump into this first one, I brought it up at the end of last week's show or a free agent show saying there's a possibility that Roki Suzaki could be posted at the end of 2025. Nope. He's posted now.
Surprise.
Yeah. So I thought he was going to get posted at the end of next year from everything I was reading because of his age, but I guess he's getting posted now. And the crazy thing about him is he's not going to get Yamamoto money.
No.
We talked about it a little bit. Like he's only going to be $2 to $3 million a year. So this could be an all-out bidding war for the posting fee, right? Is that what it turns into, right? A bidding war for how much the posting fee would be?
Yeah, so the posting fee is negotiated with the team they're coming from. So obviously that team wants to maximize the money they get. You're negotiating directly with them. You make the highest bid. They'll release the rights to you, and then you get to negotiate directly with the players. So in reality, I mean, where he goes is going to be ultimately up to whoever throws the most cash. Is he coming from Chibolote? Is that where he's coming from?
I don't remember.
Yeah. So whoever pays the most to the Chibolote team will get the chance. And under the current rules, it has to be 20% of the total guaranteed value of the contract. $25 million or less, it changes a little bit. So this gets a little weird with him being so young, being posted so early. The rules really do change because he cannot sign the big time deal. Chibolote can only take 20% of what that is. There's negotiating directly with them. So this whole process is a little different because he's younger. And that's where it's going to be interesting to see because this won't be like remember the days of Dice Cave where they threw $51 million at wherever he came from and then signed the contract with him. Like it won't be like that because there won't be a big enough contract.
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, the Dodgers are the favorite to land him. I mean, you got Yamamoto and Ohtani there now. I mean, of course he would want to go there.
Right. So. Well, and when Ohtani came over, the same thing applied. When he came over in 2017, he was early also.
Right.
And he got $2.3 million from the Angels because that was really all they're allowed to give him. Right. So, all 30 teams have 45 days to negotiate with him from the actual day he's posted. I'm not sure he's actually been posted yet.
Yeah, not quite.
But it opens up the 45-day window for everybody to negotiate with the player. And then part of that's going to go to Chibolote based on the contract size. And there's some negotiation there. But for the money he's going to make, every team will be in on him. But I think you're right. He said it that he'd like to play with his countrymen. And I think that's basically I think everybody feels like him going to the Dodgers is just kind of a foregone conclusion.
If he goes anywhere else, I'll be surprised at this point. But
yeah, I mean, the kid throws 99 to 102, splitter in the high 80s. He was getting whiff rates of 50 to 60% over in Japan. Like it was kind of a joke. So I'll be curious to see how his stuff plays at MLB. Also health. We continually see these guys come over and struggle with health, but his stuff is unreal.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Kind of staying in like the free agent-ish realm. A Juan Soto update. So he's scheduled to meet with the Yankees and scheduled to meet with the Mets. Do you think this is early? They were talking about it on Baseball Tonight or MLB Network or something about this being too early to meet with teams. I mean, we're the first week in November, but yeah. he has to set the market for everybody else to get the ball rolling.
He does a couple of things. I think what we've learned the last few years, like when Harper was a free agent, Ohtani was a free agent, is that teams, I mean, granted, their market for Ohtani, literally people think it's like 3 teams. It's New York, and LA. And depending on who you ask, depends on if they think LA's in or not. But teams are trying to gauge quickly, do they have a shot to get him? If they do, they'll keep going. If they don't, they got to move on. Because what we learned those years with Harper and Ohtani is if you sit around and wait, some of the other guys will come off the board and scrambling. And then you run the risk of getting the offseason with nobody. So I think teams are getting smart to press these players a little early to say, hey, like, what are your real intentions? Are we going to be in the ballpark? Because if not, we want to move on now, rather than drag this thing out and miss out on other opportunities. But to your point, other players don't want to sign until these guys set the market. So you end up in this really weird standoff where nobody's doing anything, but everybody's busy.
Yeah, I think the comparison that they put up was Soto and Anthony Santander. They compared their stats and what one's going to get paid versus the other one. But, obviously Juan Soto is the benchmark, right? Or the bar setter. I shouldn't say the benchmark. He's the bar setter. So Santander's sitting there waiting to see how much can I push my free agency. Yeah. If Juan Soto is going to bring in $750 to $800 million because that's what Boris wants. Boris wants him to have the biggest contract ever. Naturally, because that's what Boris does.
I think Soto would be okay with that.
Right. Santander then has to wait to see what that number is before he can start pushing, his campaign. So I don't think it is too early because, like I said, it needs to get the ball rolling for these other guys, or it's going to be like the Ohtani offseason where we're sitting at the end of January being like, where's the market? Where are these guys going? Like spring training's in 5 days, and we had like 8 to 10 guys like not signed at that point, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I am glad that it's starting early to hopefully he gets signed around Thanksgiving or the winter meetings in December.
Yeah, and you actually started to make my next point, which is we saw last year with Ohtani, the market was kind of not active. Then all of a sudden Ohtani's like, yeah, I'm going to sign. Then he did sign. And then nothing happened after that. Because what I think a lot of players do, they see Ohtani sign going, well, if he's getting $70 million a year, that means I'm worth 30. And teams go, oh, no, you're not him. You don't compare to him. Don't call us with that nonsense. Right. And I think that's where Boris got caught last year. He was shopping players after the Ohtani signing going, well, if Ohtani's worth $70 million and Blake Snell's worth 35 because half of that's for a pitcher, they're going, oh, no, he's not. No, he's not worth 35 or whatever the number he was picking was. Yeah. And I think a guy like Santander, all due respect to him, great ball player, but Soto's not going to change his market much. If I'm Santander, I go out and get the best deal I can get. If Soto signs for $1 billion, my market might change by $1 million a year. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, these are generational guys, and it's hard because the market wants to benchmark off of them, but nobody's comparing to them. And I think we saw Boris get burned last year badly with that by overplaying his hand. And I'm hoping that teams and agents got wise to that this year and will just go get good deals versus trying to run the market up based on some generational talent that doesn't compare to your client.
Well, I also think last year, part of Boris's issue was he wasn't the one in the driver's seat. He wasn't the one with the top free agent.
That is true.
So then he can't base the rest of his deals on what his top guy is getting.
Yeah, he doesn't have the details.
So another agent had Ohtani. He has no idea what's going on behind those closed doors at all. Boris is trying to play his hand off that, and he was just lost. And how many years in a row has Boris been the top agent for the top free agent? I mean, as long back as I can remember.
It feels like every season you look at the list of the top 10 free agents, and 8 of the 10 are his client. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and at least the top guy is his.
Always. Usually the top 4 or 5 are all his.
Right. So him not being in the driver's seat, I think, was uncharted territory for him, and he just kind of got lost and just didn't know what to do, and it showed. It showed.
Sure. That's fair, but I would hate to see the free agency market freeze up like last year because everybody's trying to benchmark against the guy they've got no comparison to.
Right.
And I think we saw that a little bit last year. I hope we don't see it again this year, but it'd be nice to see the big name come off the board early so teams can start to make things happen. Last year was a disaster right up to the last minute of the spring training, trying to get guys in to even get, Snell and Montgomery just trying to get in there to get pitches thrown so they could be ready.
Yeah. We haven't had a good winter meetings since before the lockout, or even pre-COVID, pretty much. But like, I remember there used to be a flurry of activity at the winter meetings. All the GMs and all the owners are in the same spot, and they were wheeling and dealing players left and right. Like we haven't really seen that the last 3 or 4 years. I would love for Soto to sign somewhere around Thanksgiving, put a big fat turkey on his table.
Yep.
And then have the winter meetings just go absolutely bonkers, because there's 30 plus free agents, like good name free agents that
this
are
going to be a deep
be
group.
Yeah, key pieces to teams that will help them win.
Yep. Yeah,
and
this is a deep group.
Yeah, and when they start flying, man, it is going to be hard to keep up with that news. But I'm here for it. I can't wait to see how this pans out. But I want Soto to sign early, like I'm saying.
Yep.
Thanksgiving, end of November, maybe right before winter meetings, just so winter meetings can be absolutely haywire. I don't see that necessarily happening, but it's wishful thinking.
No, but I mean, you're right. There was a day when like Baseball Tonight would run like special episodes during winter meetings because stuff was always happening.
Yeah.
League rules were getting changed, deals were getting made, things were moving around. And now it's like they all go, they hang out, they shake hands, they have some cocktails, and they leave, and like nothing happens. It'd be nice to see some activity come back, but that big domino has to fall. And until Soto goes, the activity I think is going to be quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if I'm the Mets, if I'm Steve Cohen, I'm just going to invite Juan Soto to my vault of money, let him dive in like Scrooge McDuck, and just tell him he can have it all if that's what it's going to take to get him to come.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's what this meeting is about.
Yeah. Here's a contract. Press hard. Sign here.
Yeah. Blank check.
Basically. Yeah. You want to own some of the Mets? Sure. Whatever.
Yeah. Crazy. What do you realistically think that number is going to be? Do you think it's north of 700? Do you think he gets it?
I don't know. I mean, keep in mind, like his contract's going to be longer. He's going to be sign a 12 to 14 year deal, and not a 10-year deal like Ohtani. But I mean, people are saying, $50 million is not $50 million a season is not outside of the realm. So 14 years of 50 million takes you to 700. I go back to, because of that contract, there's literally like 3 markets that can afford it, because you still have to put a team around him.
Right.
If you dropped Juan Soto on the White Sox right now and said, great, this is our whole offseason, they're still going to suck. Like, love Juan Soto, one of the greatest hitters we'll ever see, but he doesn't change a team enough by himself.
Right.
He has a huge impact, but you don't go from last to first because he showed up. You still got to build around him. And at 40, 45, 50 million bucks a year, I mean, the Angels have struggled to build around Trout. His health doesn't help, but like, that's a big number. And until the Dodgers won last year, we hadn't seen one of these teams with these mega contracts win anything yet. We finally saw that with the Dodgers, but you cannot give one guy, 20 or 25% of your whole payroll and think you're going to go win.
Yeah.
You got to build around him.
Yeah.
I still think realistically he should be in the $600 million range. Realistically, will somebody pay him closer to 700? Sure. I mean, I don't think Steve Cohen cares what the price tag is, but it's not going to change the fact that the Mets still have to build around him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I that's why I'm leaning towards the Mets, him going to the Mets, because Cohen will spend whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees have a tipping point where they'll be like, no. I mean, although we'll get into it, but they're stubborn enough to not let their manager go. But, I mean, I just think Cohen will overpay. Like, I think he'll blow the doors off any offer that any team's going to make at this point.
And I think it's worth saying too, if I'm Juan Soto and I'm comparing the Yankees and the Mets side by side, the Mets are the organization with the better chance to win in the next 10 years than the Yankees are. The Mets have Lindor under contract. They've got young guys like Vientos and Alvarez that are with them for at least 3 or 4 more years. Like, you've got a good core intact. McNeil's there for a few more years. You go down the list, like, you've got a good core of people that are going to be around for a little while. The Yankees don't have that. You got Garrett Cole for 4 more years. Rodon, who's a mess. Stroman, who knows. Like, you got problems. You've got problems.
Yeah.
And you don't have a lot of minor league depth coming. You've got Dominguez, great. That fills one hole. But like when you look at that organization overall, like they're not in a great spot. Whereas the
No.
Mets have young talent coming through that's going to keep them in contention for a while. Yankees don't have that. If I'm Juan Soto and I'm going there to win, I'm going to take the Mets over the Yankees right now. Even if the money's the same, even if the Yankees give me more money, I might still take the Mets because I want to win a ring.
No.
And I don't think the Yankees have that in their future.
No, but Aaron Judge is also a big pull, I think, for Juan Soto.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
they were like the new age, like Manny and David Ortiz.
right.
You know, that 1-2 punch that just, you just couldn't get through them.
Yeah.
Except in the playoffs when Judge couldn't hit.
Yeah, right. All right. Yankees pick up Boone's option. Why?
I mean, I went on a rant a few weeks ago saying that, and I think the Real posted a couple days ago, like the Yankees have to decide they want to change. They are not the Yankees of George Steinbrenner's day. They are not feared. They are not admired. They're just another organization now. They've lost their edge. Hal's not his father. They don't have they don't have a strong manager. They don't have that captain, that strong captain figure. No, all due respect, Aaron Judge. He's not Derek Jeter. You don't have that core group that stayed together. This is not the Yankees of old.
No.
And they continue to do the same stuff year after year. They continue, as we've laughed about for the last 3 seasons, they bring in the same high strikeout, low contact guys. They keep building a fantasy roster that can't deliver with a manager who can't manage late in games. And this is what you get. Like the Yankees have to wake up one morning and decide they want to change. They have to decide they want to be feared again. They want to be the Yankees of old.
Yeah.
And they don't. Hal Steinbrenner is very comfortable just keep going through the motions and selling tickets and being good enough to get interest. But that team, if you look at where they're heading, like I just said, in the next 10 years, I don't think there's a lot of hope for a World Series win. Will they make the playoffs a few times? Sure, they'll make the playoffs.
Right.
They're not going anywhere because they don't change. They will not change. They will not do anything different. And until you decide to do something different, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Yeah. I mean, you look at those 90s and 2000 teams, Yankee teams. I mean, they had contact guys up and down the lineup, and they had those 1 or 2 thumpers, right? They brought in Giambi. You brought in Rodriguez, who you could argue is both contact and power. You brought in Hideki Matsui. But, Teixeira was a doubles gap guy with occasional pop. More than occasional pop, I would say. But he was a contact guy. All these guys are 200 Ks, 35 bomb guys, minus a couple, minus Volpe and Chisholm. Although Chisholm wants to be that 35.
He swings like he hits 35 home runs a year.
Right. And then now the rumors are that Pete Alonso is, on their radar. Okay, cool. So you're going to bring in another 40 home run guy that strikes out 250 times a season.
Yep.
You just saw it in the World Series. That's not a recipe for success. Sitting there waiting for the bomb to happen, and it never came.
Yep.
It did one game. They scored 11 runs. They hit 2 or 3 home runs in that game. So it came that one game.
Yeah, one night.
Right. 1 out of 5 games ain't going to cut it. You look at that Dodgers lineup. Can all of them go deep? Yes. But Freddie Freeman hits gaps. Mookie Betts hits gaps. Ohtani, base hit up the middle. He'll take a roller through the right side. He'll hit one 500 feet. Like, they're more rounded hitters than just going for the downs every swing. And the Yankees have been that the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And you're right. They have to change their approach. They have to change their team construction. If you want to keep Judge, obviously, yes, you keep one of the best, top 3 hitters in the game.
He's your current day Babe Ruth. You keep him in the lineup and build around him.
Absolutely.
But he's no good to you if guys in front of him don't get on base.
Right.
But I look at it this way, Nick, in my simple mind. The Yankees of the George Steinbrenner era, although they spent like crazy, they didn't always spend the most. I mean, the Red Sox were up there for sure, but like the Yankees spent in that generation. But George cared about winning more than anything. He would make moves that would piss the fans off, and he didn't care because he was building a winner.
Right.
Hal Steinbrenner just wants to sell tickets. Second generation owner, inherited it from daddy. didn't spend his own money on it. He just wants to keep the gravy train rolling, and he's making money on this thing, and he's a really important, cool guy in New York City. Like, what a good life for him. He's making a boatload of money. He's the owner of the Yankees. He gets to go to the local deli and flex his muscles and how cool he is. But like George didn't care what you thought. He was there to win. Fans would scream from the rooftops how much they hated some of the moves he made, and then they'd win. They wouldn't care.
Right.
George didn't care. Hal just wants to sell tickets. It's like theater or entertainment to Hal, where like it was a competitive life for George, and they're just not the same.
I think the whole game of baseball has kind of changed in that aspect. To be fair,
it has. There's a big piece of it has gone away from fundamental baseball to entertaining baseball, and I get that baseball wants to put butts in the seats and everyone wants to sell tickets and make more money. Cool, but like the quality of the game, and we talked about with Chipper Jones, like the quality of the game is down.
Yeah.
You know, the level of talent, the quality of the game is down. But people don't want to watch a 2-1 game with stolen bases and bunts and sac flies. They want to see a 10-8 game with a bunch of home runs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, I mean, you say the talent's down. I don't think necessarily the talent's down. Is just how they're using their talent in today's game. Like it's a different type of talent, I think, today than it was. I wouldn't say that they're less talented, because I would say these young kids coming up are the best group of young kids I've ever remember seeing this steady for quite some time. And every team has 2 or 3 prospects that come up and make a big splash right away. So like I think they have the talent. I don't think it's decreasing. It's just how the game is shaped and how they're playing it.
I think the talent, I think you're getting more one-dimensional talent. So I think gone are the days of the guy who come up who could run and hit for average, hit for power, could throw. Like you got these guys who can do like 2 of 5 things. Really, really awesome though. Like I look at a guy like Schwarber. Can't play defense, can't throw, can't run, but he can take walks and hit home runs. So like, okay, like he can do 2 things really well, but he can't do anything else. You know, Ohtani can't play defense. He can pitch. He can hit. He's got like 4 dimensions. He's one of the most talented guys in baseball. And he's not a 5-tool guy. But like, so I feel like you're right in one sense, because I think they're much better at certain things, but they're not well-rounded. You're getting less. You're getting more talent in less areas.
Yeah. I think that's what I was trying to say in a not so poetic way. So,
and then and like Elliot De La Cruz is an exception. The guy can do everything. Acuna can do everything.
Right.
You know, there are a few players that are the exception, but I think more and more you're seeing guys who are, what am I? I'm a speed guy. That's all I do. I'm a home run guy. That's all I do. I'm a defensive guy. That's all I do. Like you don't have the dimensional talent like you used to have.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to go on to some more manager news here. The Padres extend Mike Schilt for 2 more years. So this is a good move for the Friars.
Great move. He finally got that team to play together.
Yeah.
And you saw it in the playoffs. I mean, they had the Dodgers on the ropes. I don't know what happened in games 4 and 5, but they had the Dodgers on the ropes. They couldn't put them away. But like that team, arguably for the second half of last year, was the best team in baseball. Yeah. Record-wise, talent-wise, all of it. He finally got that team to play together.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably one of the toughest teams to manage, with all the egos that are in that clubhouse. And that's me saying that from the East Coast. I can see the egos in their clubhouse all the way here from North Carolina. Like, yeah, I mean, if you can get them to gel and play like they did, like, I mean, I think this is a great move.
Yeah, I mean, when he took the job last year, we were all kind of like, really? Like that's who you're going to hire? Like well-respected guy, but like as we said, like that's a big clubhouse to go into.
Right.
And he got that group kind of all working together, and I think trading Juan Soto was big for them, because what they got back was huge.
Yeah. And we were like, well, if Bob Melvin couldn't do it, what's this guy going to do?
We handpicked Bob Melvin for that job and it blew up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, they clearly know something about Schilt that we don't. But, I mean, yeah, good for them. I think the Padres will be there next year. I mean, they're built for success the next 2 years. Profar's a big hole to fill if he ends up walking. So I don't know. There'll be a couple pieces, but Jackson Merrill, kid's a stud. One of my favorite players to watch right now. Hopefully he wins Rookie of the Year. But the Padres will be in the NL West contention for the next few years here going down the road, which is what they wanted.
Yeah, and he's a great pick for them. I mean, they, as you mentioned, Profar is a hole. Hae-Sung Kim is a potential hole. You know, they got to figure out what to do with Bogarts. They got 9 more years of that contract, and he's not been very good. You know, Tatis has proven that he is an absolute elite superstar. Machado's an elite superstar some days, and he's a crybaby others. They got their work cut out for him, but they do. You know, Michael King is a legitimate major league 1 or 2 starter.
Yeah,
they're in a good spot, but they got a little bit of work ahead of them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, the White Sox hired Will Venable. So they chose Will Venable over Grady Sizemore. So they must not have liked what kind of Grady Sizemore did down the stretch or something.
Yeah, and it's funny because Will Venable came right out immediately and said that he really would like to talk to Grady Sizemore about staying on the staff. If I'm Grady Sizemore, I don't think I'm going to want to stay on the staff. It just would feel weird to get promoted to the interim manager and then not get the seat and then come back as in a lesser role. But I don't know. I mean, the White Sox, I don't think have any real intention of competing. So the manager's kind of a moot point. You're going to go there for 2 years, get your head kicked in and get fired. Like, you got to start somewhere. Good for Will Venable, but you are literally just walking out in front of a firing squad.
Yeah. He literally in the interview said, I know there's a lot of work ahead of me.
That's
well, duh.
Yeah, that's like the understatement of the century.
Yeah.
You know, they're actively trying to trade Garrett Crochet. Like, they're literally trying to tear this thing down to the ground and start over.
I mean, that's the only way to get out of the hole that you're in, right? I mean, like, you can't dig any further. Like, you are at rock bottom at this point. You have to tear down the rest in order to get out of the hole. So you're back on a flat surface because they are an absolute train wreck right now. And we've said this a couple weeks ago, like, I don't even know where you start because free agents aren't walking through that door. They will take less money to go somewhere else and not sign with Chicago. Yeah. Unless they're sitting around the couch having coffee with each other during the offseason and being like, hey, the 4 of us to go, sign in Chicago. It's not going to happen.
No. And what I find interesting, so Grady Sizemore is still under contract with the White Sox another year. So him coming back it's assumed he'll come back. He obviously has the right to say, I'm out and peace. But the thinking is he'll come back in some capacity. He may not be happy to do so, but he will. But what I find interesting, so if I'm Will Venable and I'm coming into the Chicago White Sox, I want at least like a 4-year deal because I know you're going to fire me after 2.
Right.
And then it's going to be hard for me to get a job. So I'm going to make sure I max out what I can get here. When they continually announce his contract as a multi-year contract. Doesn't say how many years. Multi could be 2. Multi could be 10.
Right.
I'm curious what he signed because, I mean, this is a suicide mission to take this job.
Well, yeah, if you're a manager applying for that job, you're going in and you're listening like, hey, bud, like, I know I'm in the interview right now, but I'm in the driver's seat because I'm not going to come unless you give me job security. This team's not going to be successful for the next 3 or 4 years, at least.
Right.
Like, you have to give me protection for those 4 years. And if you don't, then I don't want to be here. Like, it doesn't make sense. I can't build a foundation if you're not going to have me for more than 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I don't want to get fired partway through the transition. Like, you got to let me see it through. If I don't get there in 4 years, yeah, you should fire me.
Yeah.
But you can't fire me after 2 and think you're going to get off the hook at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then one thing note of, Venable spent the last couple of years with Bruce Bochy. He's got a great resume. I think that if I'm Will Venable, to your point, I'm going to come into that room and be like, I know you want me. There's not a line down the road for this job. Here's what I'm looking for. I'd rather go back and work for Bruce Bochy than take this job and get fired in 2 years and have nothing else to show for it.
Right. And potentially not have anywhere to go.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And a comment from Doug on Instagram, big thing is Chicago has to develop players better.
1,000%.
100% it. They have not hit on a draft pick. They do not have any prospects. They're the 24th rated farm system. What have you done the last few years?
They have one potential prospect right now, Colson Montgomery. That's it. And he's good, but he's got a hit. But then again, it's only one guy. So it's yeah.
You've got to string a couple of good drafts together, make some good minor league trades, pick up some guys off the scrap heap. Like, you've got a lot of work to do to try to build this thing back up because there's no help coming anytime soon.
Absolutely not. All right. So Marlins pretty much in the same boat. I mean, not nearly as bad as the White Sox, obviously, but the Marlins to hire new manager Clayton McCullough, who's coming over from the Dodgers, I believe.
He's been the Dodgers' first base coach the last few years.
Okay. Now the Marlins are interesting because I know the White Sox didn't win. It seems like the Marlins don't want to win. Like it's a little bit different, right? That's why Schumacher left, because he was like, hey, you guys aren't trying to make this team better. You just shipped everybody out that I had. And now, like, what direction are we going? You guys don't want to try to win? He's like, I'm out. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, the Marlins, I do think the Marlins might have had the best trade deadline of anybody in baseball in terms of the minor league prospects they got back.
Right.
But like the White Sox, you're several years away from those guys making an impact.
Right.
It's like if you're Skip Schumacher or the next manager coming in, how long are you going to give me? Because I don't want to be. I'm waiting for the farm system to deliver because you're not going to sign anybody. But I'm not getting fired because of that.
No. So I don't know. Kind of an interesting hire, but it doesn't surprise me because I don't think at this point a veteran manager is going to go in there to that organization knowing what they know. I mean, how they mistreated Don Mattingly when he left, and this the track record of managers that have gone in and then just been like, no. I mean, Schumacher won Manager of the Year in, what was it, 23? They made the playoffs.
Yeah, the year
last
before.
year. Yeah, last year they made the playoffs. And then this year they had a down year. At the deadline, you took all of the talent away, and he's just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't want to take this train to nowhere. Makes no sense.
No.
And and McCullough is a well-respected guy in baseball. Never managed the major league level. He managed in the minors for a few years. He's been very much just kind of working his way through the Dodger system. It was expected he'd land a manager job at some point, but I don't think that. I mean, he's certainly not a pick if somebody's going to come in and change the world.
Yeah.
But if you're the Marlins, you're not looking for that. Like,
right.
You're not planning to compete for a few years anyways. So what does it matter?
All right. Real quick, Platinum Glove winners were announced: Cal Raleigh and Bryce Terang. Are we surprised with those two?
No. I mean, Bryce Terang is insane in the outfield. If you never watched Bryce Terang play, he's unreal. Absolutely unreal. I'm sorry, I said outfield, second baseman.
Second baseman.
I was like, wait a second, I said outfield, second baseman. His range is unreal. He gets to everything. Some of the catches he's made going into the outfield grass are bananas. So yeah. I think very deserving. Cal Raleigh also super talented defensively, and I have nothing against him. It's just you don't see a lot of catchers get Platinum Glove awards, which I think is cool.
That's not Yadi Molina.
Right. I mean, Yadi was really the only guy. He's the only guy ever to get a Platinum Glove as a catcher, right?
Yeah, he got multiple, but he also threw out like 60% of the base runners.
Right. That's not usually a position that gets enough credit defensively. So it's nice to see Cal Raleigh win it. I think you had some other candidates, but I mean, I think he's a good pick. Terang to me was clearly the pick in the NL.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, Cal Raleigh had a great pitching staff too. That also helps.
It does. It does. It's, I mean, so much of being a catcher, you're reliant on other people. It's what they're giving you to work with. But in Cal Rowley's defense, he is exceptional behind the plate, and having a good staff to work with makes it even better.
Yeah.
And he's a player that I think, because he's in Seattle, doesn't get a lot of notoriety. I think there's a lot of fans in baseball who are like, "Who's this guy that just got this platinum glove?"
Yeah.
Everybody knew Yachty. They won some World Series championships when he was there. He'd been around a long time, big personality.
St. Louis is a winning organization.
Right, winning. I mean, different, but
Right.
Cal Raleigh is super talented.
It's the same thing with Bryce Terang being in Milwaukee. Like, people forget that the Brewers are up there sometimes.
True. I mean, his highlight reel speaks for itself, but yeah, I mean, he's not well known.
No. All right. One of our favorite topics these last 2 years has been the Oakland A's. So the A's officially drop Oakland from their team name. So I made a joke earlier to Harrison. They're now called the Athletics Athletic Club. They're not really called that. That's just probably what I'm going to call them from here on out, the AAC.
Yeah, well, you need AA if you watch these guys. So
yeah, facts. I mean, this doesn't come as a surprise to me, really. I mean, were they really going to throw Sacramento on the front of their jerseys while they were there? Like, no, they're not planning on staying there.
No, I also find interesting they're not slapping Vegas on there yet either. You know, it's not like we're the Vegas A's and we'll be there soon. We're just the Athletics, and we don't have a home city yet, and we're not going to pick one. So to me, it was, to your point, Nick. Yeah, were you going to put Sacramento on there for a year or two? No, probably not. But like, you also didn't jump to Vegas just yet. So is it because you don't think you're going to get there, or you just don't want to do it too early? I found it interesting.
Or or both. I mean, because it's not. Is it official? They're moving to Vegas. Has anything been?
According to the county and everybody else, the move to Vegas is still happening. Renderings are being done. The hotel they're moving in, they're taking the spot of is gone. They took that to the ground. So everybody's moving along as though it's happening. I don't know.
I just have a weird feeling that it is going to fall through, and they're going to end up in Salt Lake City if they don't get a team before all that. But
part of me thinks that this move to the Athletics without putting a city on it is leaving it open for them to have options. So if the Vegas deal gets a little funky, they can bail out and go somewhere else. They can stay in Sacramento and build a ballpark there. Like, I feel like this might be partially them, leaving their options open. We're the Athletics with no city affiliation. Who wants us?
Yeah.
And let's see where we end up.
They have a girlfriend, but they got a couple girls on the side that they're
exactly. We're not we're not exclusive yet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
we're gonna date a few cities and pick one.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a combination of all of that, really, right? Like, because
Bachelor Baseball Edition.
Oh yes, absolutely. Here
Book
would be
it.
Oakland. Yeah. I think it's a combination of all of those things, right? Like, obviously you're not going to have Oakland on your shirt. You're done with them completely. You're not going to put Sacramento on for the next 3 years. And this Vegas deal could still fall through. So
right.
It's them safeguarding themselves for sure. And like you said, I'm sure there's some sly reason why they're not. And it could be because it's like, hey, we could go somewhere else if a better opportunity arises. So I don't know. The whole situation from top to bottom, from start to finish, has been wild. And we are far, far from the end of this. It's crazy.
So the latest on the A's, they had near final documents October 17th. Their financing plan is due by early December. And according to their president, Dave Cavall, the ballpark is, kind of 50 to 75% designed, and they're full speed ahead on closing that out and moving forward. So progress is being made. It's slow and kind of behind the scenes. I think December is when it kind of goes big. The financing plan comes out. The renderings are done. We've got a ballpark. We know we're going to pay for it. So I think they're making progress. I think it's slower than expected, but things are happening. But I do think in the next, by the first of the year, we're going to know if they're actually going to be on track or not.
Yeah. For some reason, I just don't see it happening. Like I said before, I won't believe it until the first pitch is thrown on opening day, whenever year they get in there.
And I think you have a right to be skeptical. I mean, Fisher has typically done something sort of like what he said, but not exactly what he said.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I think that fans are feeling the same way. Like, I'll believe they've got a home when I see them actually, build it and move in.
Yeah. So even if they move in, I'm not believing it until they play an actual game in that stadium.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, but we've got a Major League Baseball team without a home for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Wild.
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you got 2 because the Rays don't have a home either. But at least theirs was not a decision they made. Theirs was the roof got destroyed.
Well, you could also say it was a decision they made for putting that roof on that thing to begin with, but
fair.
It's neither here or there.
Yeah, I mean, it's held up through some pretty epic storms, but not as epic as this one.
No.
Well, all right. And sad for them is they got a new ballpark coming, so now they're stuck in between like the A's are.
Yeah, I've already said it. Come to Durham, we'll host you for 3 years, and then you can just stay. So whatever.
Then you can just say, you know what, that beautiful ballpark will look great empty. You keep it, St. Petersburg.
Yeah, you don't need it. All right, so it kind of segues us into this whole TV deals and money issues going around. Harrison, I know you've been following this really quick, so take the reins on this one.
I love this TV stuff because the economics of baseball are mind-boggling sometimes. So, all right, let's see. So let's start back at the beginning. So there's been off and on issues with Bally Sports, which in many of their franchises are owned by Diamond Sports. So Diamond Sports is the parent company to a lot of teams' TV packages. I want to say it's 13 teams right now currently have packages with Diamond Sports. Diamond Sports, if we remember correctly, had a couple teams where they dropped them, like the Padres. They told the Padres, hey, we're not covering your games anymore. Good luck.
And the Diamondbacks.
We're not covering your games anymore. Good luck. And MLB had to step in and help them find something. As of right now, MLB is still producing the Padres games.
And Diamondbacks, I'm pretty sure.
The Diamondbacks are still being produced by MLB, but I believe they've got a deal for like a Fox affiliate to take that or something. So anyways, so it's coming. So Diamond Sports was dumping contracts they couldn't make money on because they were having financial difficulties. Well, now Diamond Sports went into bankruptcy. And they've submitted a reorganization plan that both MLB and the Braves, who are also with Diamond Sports through their Bally Sports, they have grave concerns over. The issues stem from Diamond Sports isn't sharing a lot of information. MLB and the Braves feel like they're not really solving the problem. They're going to be right back in the same spot in a few years. Obviously, TV deals, that's a lot of money to these teams, a lot of money to Major League Baseball, a lot of money that comes through revenue share. Because there are teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox who own their networks, but most teams don't. Most teams have a regional carrier that covers their games and pays for the honor. So the Braves and MLB don't like the plan. MLB really doesn't like the fact that Amazon is negotiating a commercial partnership with Diamond, because in MLB's mind that means streaming on Amazon Prime, right, which gets right at the heart of MLB TV. And then second to that, Diamond is also building their own direct-to-consumer option, which means streaming that they'll be able to offer their customers, which also comes right back at the MLB TV thing, because although they're regionally limited, it's hard to track who's streaming. So in theory, if you live in North Carolina, Nick, but you move and you don't tell them you change your address, like maybe you can watch games you otherwise couldn't on an old package. So there's a lot of rights and things like that they've got to protect. So there's a lot of issues here. The Braves have major concerns. MLB has major concerns. They're trying to get out of bankruptcy. In the middle of all this, the Cincinnati Reds have exited their deal with their network that's owned by Diamond. And there's 3 of the 11 teams that are currently reworking contracts with Diamond, which it sounds like Diamond's trying to pay less for those. So this TV thing continues to be a huge problem because we saw the Twins. The Twins didn't spend last year in free agency for fear they would lose their TV deal. Right. They haven't yet, but they're one of the ones being reworked. which means they're going to get less TV money.
Were the
So
Rangers
therefore,
on the Rangers were on
the Rangers were on that list too. So it is making free agency the last 2 years a little more challenging for some of these teams who don't know if they're going to have a TV deal and also don't know what revenue is going to come off that TV deal. So this continues to just linger. But the Reds finally said enough's enough. We're out. We're going to go find a different carrier. MLB is still producing the Padres. MLB is still producing the Diamondbacks. MLB is trying to protect its MLB TV streaming rights. And this is getting really, really ugly. So whatever happens with Diamond is going to happen with Diamond, but it's pushing MLB. So MLB 2 years ago brought in a guy to be in charge of all this digital stuff. MLB is trying to bring TV rights back into the league. And then go kind of like the NFL and NBA do, go out and get a singular TV contract versus having all these little fragmented regional ones. So I do think you're going to see the TV landscape for baseball change. I'm not sure if that's going to change blackouts or not. I know MLB is working hard on that, but to have 13 markets with a TV carrier who's in bankruptcy, who you're not sure is going to come out of bankruptcy and is trying to rework deals and pay you less money, this is going to be another free agency season where TV contract revenue is going to be a major topic.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I've said this before. Being in North Carolina, I'm 6 hours away from the nearest MLB franchise, and I'm blacked out of 4 markets. I'm blacked out of Baltimore, Washington, Cincinnati, and Atlanta. Dude, I'm 8 hours from Cincinnati, and I'm blacked out of Cincinnati. It's unreal. So,
well, and what's worse, you can't even get the networks they're on, right?
Right. Like their cable network doesn't reach my home.
But you're blacked out on streaming services because of the regional rights.
Right. I can't get Baltimore, Washington, Atlanta, or Cincinnati on my regular YouTube TV. I'm out of range, but I'm blacked out. I don't get it. So selfishly, I kind of want the MLB to take over Cincinnati and Atlanta this year, because then I could actually have 2 more games every night I could watch. Like I get the blackout thing, I really do, but like pick one. Like I mean, I'm either blacked out of Atlanta and not Baltimore, Washington, and Cincinnati, or I'm blacked out of Baltimore and Washington. I would even allow you to do that because they're 10 miles apart. I get that. Just put me in a market and keep me there. But to be blacked out of 4 teams is wild to me. Yeah. And I feel bad for the local fans that will be blacked out of their own home teams. They'd be growing up in Maine, just being blacked out of the Red Sox all the time. Can't watch them. Yeah. Like I couldn't even.
I can't watch the Red Sox play, but I can watch everybody else. I just can't watch them. So back to the point about the teams being reworked. So it looks like MLB right now is planning on going into the 2025 season producing games for the Padres, the Guardians, the Brewers, and the Twins. So the Guardians, Brewers, and Twins have all backed out of their Bally Sports, Diamond Sports arrangements, and will just be on MLB TV. They'll be distributed locally and then put on MLB TV. What MLB's learned from the Padres and Diamondbacks and Colorado Rockies, you forgot about the Rockies. The Rockies were produced by MLB last year too.
But they were different though, weren't they? Like Root. I don't think they're Bally Sports.
No, they're not. They had another issue. So MLB was producing games for all 3 of them. And what they found is that they actually got better viewership, because they reach more places on MLB TV because you got your national audience. But MLB also added things like ump cam and other cool things to the broadcast to make it more entertaining, and actually drew more viewers in because of that. So MLB is very much utilizing this as a chance to understand what they could do with streaming, because I can see a world where MLB takes this all back in-house and turns baseball into a streaming service potentially only, with some very minor local distribution to your immediate households around that marketplace. So I do think you could see the blackout issue go away over time, like they've brought in this new executive to do. You may also see better reach. You may also see better TV revenue if MLB controls more of it and selects the regional distribution partners. But either way, this is going to get messy. we're going to be talking about MLB TV. We're going to be talking about TV contract revenue through this MLB free agent offseason as well. They've got to get it figured out.
Yeah,
because you're gonna have the fans are gonna start to get annoyed that they can't easily get access to their games, and it's just gonna piss people off and push them away.
Yeah, and baseball has that unique, like, there's 162 games that we're trying to find airspace for. Like, I get that. That's also really, really hard. But I think the other side of this is, like you said earlier when you first started explaining this whole situation, is the franchises that own their TV rights, Nesson, Masson,
Yes Network.
Yes Network, all of them, they have a leg up monetarily wise,
huge,
over every single other organization across the country. So they can land more free agents. They can structure their money however they want to, where, like you said, the Twins are hamstrung and handcuffed. They can't do anything because they don't know where their next check is coming from. So that could also turn into a competitive balance issue later down the road too, if they don't get this fixed.
Yep.
Because now no one's got money except for your markets that own their TV deals. So they got to do something. They got to figure it out.
Yep. So the rumors are that even if Diamond Sports gets through this bankruptcy proceeding, they plan to eventually move on from Major League Baseball in the next couple of years, because all these contracts are set to come up. That means the Reds, who are already out, the Guardians, who are already out, the Tigers, the Royals, the Angels, the Marlins, the Brewers, who are already out, the Twins, who are already out, the Cardinals, Rays, and Rangers would all have to find new television arrangements for their games, which would likely be MLB taking them back, finding a very local partner to distribute them, and turning baseball into a streaming package, which I think in the end is better, because now you're going to get a better product available to more people than what you're getting currently. And now you've got a clean view of what your revenue is going to be. You can easily share that and allocate that. Like, this becomes a lot easier for MLB to manage. But this has been a 2.5-year battle that is hopefully going to start to wind down. It's just, I think the fans are getting stuck in this really painful middle ground of not knowing what's going to happen. And then teams are trying to make decisions on what to pay players when they don't know what their future is going to look like, because they don't know if their TV deal is going to be there tomorrow or not.
Yeah. I mean, the Twins were thinking they could have started the season and then lost their TV deal. And now the fans are literally blacked out in the middle of the season.
Yeah. The Twins literally came out last year and said, like, we're going into the free agent season unable to sign anybody, because we, unable to make the moves we want to make, because we do not know the future of our TV deal. And their revenue, you look at the Red Sox and Yankees, and their revenue is $500 million a year plus. The Twins are $275 to $300 million. Owning your TV network makes a huge difference. And also the size of your market makes a huge difference.
Yep.
A team like the Twins, the Royals, even the Rangers, they can't afford to lose their TV deals, because that is a huge part of the revenue with which they operate. We saw the Padres have to go take out an emergency operating line of credit to stay afloat when they lost their TV deal and had to bridge that, which is what caused them to trade Juan Soto, because they couldn't afford to keep him. Like,
right.
People, you're making baseball decisions because you can't get the damn TV deal right. That is a problem that MLB has to get its arms around. And they can't let Amazon in the fold, because then the streaming thing goes to hell, and now it's going to be all fragmented out. So they got some work to do here.
Yeah, I mean, well, they do let Apple TV Plus have that one Friday night game. Do you see them possibly doing that for Amazon too? Being hey, you can take just one game a week off our hands, kind of like Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I think MLB would be okay with giving Amazon, a game or two a week. They don't want Amazon to have access to 13 franchises, though.
Yeah.
Like, I see MLB bringing all the TV rights back into the league, except for the locally the owned ones, the Yes Network and Nesson and all that. I see all the TV rights coming back into MLB, and now they can go get a TV deal for the whole league. Hey, ESPN, you want Sunday Night Baseball? Hey, Apple TV, you want Friday Night Baseball? Hey, you want Wednesday Night Baseball? You want Saturday afternoon baseball? Like, you can sell it out, and then sell a whole streaming package to the world called MLB TV, and all the revenue is yours. It's all yours. No more of this middleman nonsense. No more of fighting with Diamond Sports in court. You own it. And that's what the NBA does, the NFL does, the NHL does. they negotiate these TV deals for the whole league, which is why they're on ESPN, which baseball is barely on anymore.
Right.
That's why the NFL is always on CBS and Fox. That's why the NBA is on TNT. Like they have these big multi-billion-dollar TV deals for the whole league.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see how it all unfolds, but
if MLB gets that right, you're going to see league revenue take a big jump.
Yeah.
Which is going to make the Players Association very happy.
Yeah. And then we'll see our first $1 billion contract if we don't already in this offseason. So,
yeah, you're going to see everybody have more money to play with.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Are we ready for some trivia, Harrison?
Let's do it.
All righty. So this week we have MLB last names in common. So I will give you clues of 2 or more players, and by the clues you have to tell me the last name that they have in common.
Okay.
So first one, closer for the Minnesota Twins and the center fielder for the Boston Red Sox.
So this would be Duran.
Yes. So it's Joan and Jaron Duran. All right. Center fielder for the Giants, hurt most of 2024. 3-time All-Star outfielder and first baseman for the White Sox, the Brewers, the Astros, and the Marlins from 99 to 2012. The other one, 2-time All-Star first baseman for the Padres, the Marlins, the Cubs, the Braves, the Orioles, and the Pirates from 97 to 2011.
Boy. I'm going to go with Lee. Is it Jung Ho, Carlos, and Derek?
Oh, look at that. Even got the 3. Yeah,
I can't guarantee I'll get them all that way, but that one.
Jung Ho, Carlos, and Derek Lee. Yeah, some of them are definitely easier than others.
We only get the easy ones anyways, so.
It's facts. But the cool thing about this is if you get one of them, like you got their last name.
Yeah, you got to get one.
Yeah. All right, here's the next one. Pitcher from 92 and then 96 to 2012 for Pirates, Marlins, Expos, Royals, Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, Mariners, Nationals, Cardinals, Mets, and the Braves. And the next one, 2-time All-Star infielder with one of the best batting stances ever.
This is going to be a funky stance. Is it Fernandez?
Not Fernandez.
I was thinking Tony.
The first name is Tony on one of them.
Oh. Pena?
No.
Tony.
This guy's batting stance was all jacked up. He moved all over the place before the pitch came.
Oh, goodness.
He would start open and then he'd come like really closed. And
yeah, wasn't Tony Fernandez? What was his name?
It wasn't Fernandez.
Oh man, I can picture him. It wasn't Batista.
It is. It's Batista.
Oh, was it Batista? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking of. I just kept thinking it was Fernandez.
Yeah, Miguel and Tony Batista.
Yeah, his stance was so weird.
Yeah, he started like this, like straight up, like he was not even.
He's like aiming at you. It was just.
And
weird.
then he'd like curl over. Like I was like, dude, what are you doing?
It was so strange, but it worked. I mean, the guy, and he had some power.
Yep, absolutely. All right. 3-time Gold Glove winning first baseman for the Orioles and the Diamondbacks, and maybe someone else. Utility infielder for the Twins, the Rockies, the Reds, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Padres, and the A's. Next one is a 1-time All-Star starting pitcher for the Mariners, Diamondbacks, Blue Jays, Mets, and Phillies. And the last player is a Hall of Fame outfielder for the Rockies.
So Gold Glove winning first baseman, I immediately went to Goldschmidt, but there's no way those are all Goldschmidts. So that isn't right. Would it be Walker? So
It
Larry
is.
Walker, Christian Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Neil?
Christian. Nope, not. That's a good one. I didn't put Neil Walker in.
Oh, the wrong. At the infielder, I was like Neil Walker.
He played for the Red Sox.
Larry Christian. Oh, Oh God, what was his name? I don't know. I'm not going to get all four of them this time. I tried.
Okay, it's Todd Walker.
Todd Walker
and Taiwan Walker.
Damn.
Is who you missed.
I could picture him. I said Neil, and it's Todd.
Yeah.
Todd Walker was kind of an underrated Red Sox.
Yeah, for sure.
Unremarkable, but underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, and Taiwan Walker still pitching.
John, facts. Like, how do you follow the ball when you move that much?
I had no clue.
I don't know how you follow when the pitcher's releasing. Like, well, you're in motion. I don't get it. Like, I never understood how that guy was able to hit.
No, never. All right, next one. Center fielder that made a home run robbery in the first WBC, a famous one. Should be Hall of Fame center fielder. And the next one is a one-time All-Star and Rolaids relief pitcher of the year for the Tigers in 2000.
All right, I think I have all three on this one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go Jones.
Yep.
It's going to be Adam, Andrew, and Todd.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Crushed it.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, even Todd's cheering for you down there.
I know. And he had a good mustache, too.
Yep. That is really solid mustache.
It was very solid mustache. And you got two center fielders there that made a few catches in their day.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Yeah. All right. Reds speedy center fielder from 2013 to 2023. Outfielder that became the 16th player to ever have a 4 home run game in 2012.
Okay. The speedy center fielder, I always want to call him Billy Hamilton, but it's not Billy Hamilton.
It is Billy.
Oh, is it Billy Hamilton? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I got that name wrong last time.
Yeah.
And then is it Josh Hamilton in 12?
Yes. Nice job. Yep. Billy and Josh Hamilton. Good.
He could run.
All right. I feel like this one's a layup. I think you can get all three. Until Freeman's home run, this player hit arguably the most famous Dodgers home run ever. Next one is starting pitcher who changed the height of the mound. And the last one is with much debate, he now owns the highest career batting average record.
All right. So it's Gibson.
Yep.
It's Kirk Gibson, Bob Gibson, Josh Gibson.
Yes, sir.
I have so many times called Bob Gibson Kirk Gibson, just like
just
letting it out. Letting it out. And I don't know why I do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, nice job on that one.
Yeah, what was Josh Gibson's average? Wasn't it?
It's like 379 or something.
Like insanely high.
Yeah, it's something astronomical. So a lot of people kind of discredit it, which I'm kind of on the fence about. I don't know how I feel about it, but we can get into that some other day.
It's hard. Like you gotta just pick a spot and go with it. Like you can't keep kicking it around.
Yeah. I'm sure it will come up sometime during this offseason and we can really get into it.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Just announced his retirement after winning the World Series with the Dodgers, 2-time All-Star for Arizona and the Dodgers, 4-time Gold Glove switch hitting second baseman from 2002 to 2012, and a 4-time All-Star 2014 World Series starting pitcher for Oakland, Atlanta, and the Giants.
All right. Pretty sure I can get all three of these. So it's Hudson, Daniel Hudson, Orlando Hudson, Tim Hudson.
Yes, you're killing these tonight.
Woo!
Nice.
Apparently, you found like these obscure players like Orlando Hudson that I remember.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said at the beginning. I think like once you get the last name, then the rest of them kind of fall into place.
You can start to narrow it down pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. 1-time All-Star center fielder for the Dodgers in 91, but played for Atlanta, Cleveland, the Giants, Dodgers, Mets, and then the Dodgers again. And then 1-time All-Star, 1-time Silver Slugger, first baseman for the Royals, the A's, and the Yankees.
Ooh, okay. Atlanta, Cleveland, okay. 1-time All-Star, Silver Slugger. Royals, Oakland. That's not Sweeney, is it?
Not Sweeney. It's a guy around that same time.
Yeah. You had Sweeney, you had Butler, you had... Is it Butler? Billy Butler?
Yeah, it's Butler. So do you know who the center fielder would be?
Brett Butler?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There you go. Brett and Billy Butler.
Billy
Good.
Butler still has that epic home run when he was like trash talking with the catcher that hits that bomb.
My
That's one of
God,
the best clips of all time
It's
in
so
Cleveland.
good. Yeah,
One of the best clips of all time.
The catcher started barking at him. He barks back, gets in the box, and just hits an absolute mammoth tank.
Hits a big boy home run.
Yeah, that thing was crushed.
One of the best clips of all time.
All right. One-time All-Star, 2 Silver Sluggers, shortstop and second baseman for the White Sox, Padres, and Rays. 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, third baseman, 386 career home runs for the Pirates, Cubs, Brewers, and back with the Pirates. 13-year reliever, now in the minors, but played for the Mariners, the Rays, Mariners again, Red Sox, Mets, Tigers, Nationals, Rays, 2012 to current.
Holy cow. That's a lot of movement here. For the White Sox. Okay, 3-time All-Star, Silver Slugger, third base. That's a lot of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like current player?
The middle one?
Yeah.
The middle one is not a current player.
Okay. Like recent or like we getting old?
Yeah, I would say 2000s.
Oh, so is it? Oh, okay. So is that Ramirez?
It is Ramirez. Aramis Ramirez. Nice.
Okay. Shortstop. White Sox, Padres, Rays.
Mostly White Sox. He kind of like mopped up with those other two at the end of his career.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on who that is.
Yeah. What about the reliever? Do you have a guess on him?
Oh boy, I don't. I'm gonna kick myself, I'm sure, when I see it.
Yeah. So
I feel like this one should jump out at me.
It is Alexi Ramirez, Aramis, and Erasmo Ramirez.
Yeah, Alexi Ramirez. I feel like I should have remembered. Erasmo Ramirez would have been a pretty good pull because he was a little bit obscure.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say he's a lot of bit obscure.
Yeah, I mean
he's just been everywhere.
He's been decent, but Alexi Ramirez, I should have known that one. That one was bothering me.
Yeah. All right.
But Ramos Ramirez, that guy was fun to watch.
Yeah. Catcher for the Twins in 89, then caught for Atlanta from 90 to 93. He was an all-star in 1990. First baseman traded from Oakland to the Braves, where he hit 34 home runs in his first year after the trade.
Well, first baseman's not Olsen, right? Because he hit more than that.
It is Olsen. In his first year, second year, he hit the 54 or 56.
Okay, so it's Olsen. So is the catcher Greg Olsen?
It is. Nice.
That's an awesome picture of him getting dumped over his head.
Yeah, that was the World Series game.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, all right. Speedy center fielder from 83 to 99, stole over 35 bases in 12 of those seasons, with 72 being the highest in 91 with the Braves. Right fielder for the Boston Red Sox and labeled as one of the original Dirt Dogs.
I love both these players if I have it right. So I'm going to go Nixon. It's Otis and Trot.
Yes, sir. Otis and Trot Nixon.
Otis, who looked like he was 75 years old his second year in the league. But man, could he run.
Yeah. Crazy. All right. 2-time All-Star, Gold Glove, 2015 World Series center fielder. It played for the Brewers, the Royals, and back with the Brewers, 2010 to 2022. Starting pitcher who spent his entire career with the Giants from 2005 to 2017.
Well, the pitcher's not Bumgarner, which would have been my original guess. Entire career with the Giants. All-Star Gold Glove. So that 2015 World Series, that was the Royals World Series. That was
yes, sir.
Alex Gordon in left. Diaz and right? Who the hell played center field?
The guy on the question.
I know who played center field for that team. Oh my goodness.
See, I would have thought you might have gotten this on the second one.
I know, and I feel like I should know this. It wasn't Schmidt.
No.
Wasn't. I mean,
this is. Do you give up? You give up?
No, but I think I have to.
All right, this one you're gonna kick yourself. This is Lorenzo and Matt Cain.
Oh no! I should have gotten both of those. I'm like, I know the outfield for the Royals. Who am I missing?
Yeah.
And Matt Cain. Yeah, that's Schmidt and Cain were the two guys back to back there.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That one hurts. I'm guessing the players all around him.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Okay.
All right. Batted 247 for 4 straight years for Oakland.
Love this one.
3-time All-Star, 3-time World Series, switch hitting outfielder, and DH that played from 81 to 99 for Giants, the Angels, the Twins, the Angels again, the Royals, and the Yankees. And the last one ended his last 4 years in Baltimore with a negative WAR.
Well, it's Davis because you got Chris and Chris.
Yep.
Chris Davis to start, Chris Davis to end it, and then in the middle, I originally was thinking Eric, but those aren't the right teams.
No.
Is there another Chris Davis?
No, I wish.
I mean, just for the hell of it.
Right. It does start with a CH, though.
Oh, Chili Davis.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the teams going, oh, of course, that's Chili.
Yeah. Chris, Chili, and Chris.
Chris and Chris.
Yeah. Chris with a K and Chris with a C.
Chris Davis, the Orioles Chris Davis should have had the K in his name because that would have been better, more fun.
a backwards K would have been awesome.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
All right. Second baseman, mostly known from his time in Oakland from 02 to 11, but also played for the Rockies, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals. Catcher known for his time as a Dodger from 08 to 16, but also played for the Phillies, the Marlins, and Padres later in his career.
Second baseman. Oh, is it Ellis?
It is Ellis. Yeah.
Mark Ellis and oh God, what was the catcher's first name? I don't remember, but it's Ellis.
Name is in quotes because it was initials. It was AJ.
Oh, that's right, AJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was. Has it been Will Smith since then? No.
If not, pretty darn close.
Yeah, pretty close, but I don't think it was exactly.
Yeah, because what did the year 16? So it's pretty close for Will Smith. I don't know when he came up. All right, next one. I feel like this one might be the toughest one we got.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. Relief pitcher from 14 to 21 with the Tigers, 2022 to current with the Reds. Utility infielder for the Twins, who also played for the Dodgers and the Reds, debuted in 17.
Oh. Polanco?
No, it's a good guess.
Relief pitcher.
This would be a pretty darn good pull if you pulled both of these guys, I would feel.
It's not Stevenson, is it?
Not Stevenson.
I don't think I have this one. I thought I did.
Yeah, this one is a really tough one. This is Buck and Kyle Farmer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was not going to. Those are two super obscure, although current, very obscure players.
Yeah. Well, Farmer ended up playing a ton for the Twins because, well, surprise, surprise, Correa's hurt, Buxton's hurt, so.
Yep. Yeah, but yeah, not a guy that I would have honed in on. That's a good one though.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I think, easily the toughest one on here. All right. Two-time World Series shortstop, mostly known for his time with the Twins from 83 to 92, ended his career with the Royals and Dodgers' final year being 97. One-time Cy Young winner, three-time All-Star, 2007 World Series appearance, pitching for the Dodgers, Rangers, Red Sox, and Brewers, 187 career saves.
I had different names for those two, so now I'm like, wait a second. I think I've got them both wrong.
What did you have for the first one?
Clayton had jumped out at me, but it's not Clayton.
No.
Two-time World Series Twins. Who was the Twins shortstop during that time frame? I feel like that should be an obvious one.
Once you hear it, you'll be like, oh, focus on the last one. You could definitely get the last one.
Three-time All-Star, one-time Cy Young. Oh, is it Gagne?
It is Gagne.
I'm like, oh, the pitcher one. That one should have jumped right out. When I really looked at it, it did. Gagne. So who was the shortstop? I don't remember the shortstop.
It is Greg.
Oh, yep.
Greg Gagne and Eric Gagne.
Yeah, you say the name. It's like, yeah, okay.
Might have been pronounced Gagne. I don't know, but
spelled the same way.
Yeah,
exactly. Spelled the same way. It's fine.
Yeah. English is hard. All right.
Yeah.
Utility infielder that debuted with the Rangers in 21, but was then claimed off waivers by the Tigers and is current. One-time All-Star, left fielder, and first baseman for the Mariners, Royals, back to the Mariners, the Phillies, the Yankees, back to the Mariners, the Angels, and then back to the Royals. 305 career home runs.
Good God. How many times are you going to go back to Seattle?
3 times.
Mostly a left fielder or mostly a first baseman? Like, is there one that was more than the other?
I would say probably left field was his primary position.
Okay.
And probably transitioned to first later in his career.
Seattle, KC, Seattle. Ibanez?
Yes.
Okay. I'm looking at, because that one, I'm like, the only person I can think of with that career path is Raul Ibanez.
Yeah.
I don't know the infielder.
It's Andy Ibanez.
I was literally about to say, but I think there's an Andy Ibanez.
Yep, that's him. Good. Yep. Nice.
Raul Ibanez. But yeah, he was in Seattle. Every other year it seemed like he went back to Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved watching him play, except for when he was in pinstripes. But
yeah, no, he hurt some teams in the pinstripes, but great swing.
Yeah. All right. 2-time World Series champion relief pitcher in 18 and 24. Number 2 pitcher in the Diamondbacks rotation, and a catcher that debuted in St. Louis in 16, but mostly known for his time in Arizona, but has been on Tigers and Rangers the past 2 years.
So it's Kelly, Joe Kelly, Merrill Kelly. Who's the catcher?
He is current, but he's been shuffled around the last couple of years.
So yeah, I'm not getting the catcher. I got the other two.
It's Carson.
Oh, Carson. Okay.
Yeah. They all have the same motion. I don't know how I picked that up.
Yeah. But. It's funny. Like those players like Carson Kelly, it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that name before. I know nothing about him.
Yeah. Well, same. And
I've heard that name before.
And I've watched the Diamondbacks the last 2 years. So
it's like, oh yeah, I've heard that name. Don't know who he is.
Yeah. All right. Gold Glove catcher that debuted with Milwaukee in 11, World Series with Astros in 22. Outfielder from 81 to 95, World Series with the Blue Jays in 92. Dodgers, Giants, Indians, Brewers, Blue Jays, Cubs, Indians, Blue Jays, Rangers was his career path.
Holy crap. Is this Maldonado?
It is Maldonado.
Is it Candy Maldonado is the second one?
Yes, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Martine and Candy Maldonado. Nice.
Yeah, that's what a career path. My goodness.
Yeah.
Crazy. Shorter list where you didn't play.
I probably should have done that. All right. One-time All-Star, two-time Silver Slugger, debuted with Texas in '89 and ended his career with Detroit in '03. Only pitcher to never give up a grand slam in their career.
Oh, Palmer.
Yes. Do you know the first one?
Is it Dean?
It is. Good.
Yeah.
Dean and Jim Palmer. Good. And then
Jim Palmer with that weird leg kick.
Yeah. 2019 World Series pitcher for the Nationals. ERA title in 13 with Detroit. Catcher that debuted with the Yankees with a ton of power, but is now in Milwaukee. Middle infielder debuting for the Cubs in '91, ending his career in '05 with the Yankees. 15 career home runs. Debuted with the Marlins in 2020 as a starting pitcher. Was hurt in 21 and 22 and appeared in 14 games for Miami this season.
The first one, isn't that Scherzer?
No.
It's not Scherzer.
It is not Scherzer.
Is that Anibal Sanchez?
It is Anibal Sanchez.
Okay. I was like, because I can only think of two guys that have that, where they're on that team and also had spent some time in Detroit.
Yeah.
All right, so it's Anibal Sanchez. I'm not going to get these other Sanchez's, I don't think. So, catcher debut with the Yankees with a ton of power, but now in Milwaukee. I feel like that one, I'll hear it and go, oh, yeah.
Yeah, you totally will. He went to the Padres, too, for a little bit. He was on the Mets for a blank.
Gary Sanchez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, duh. I was just saying, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Gary.
This next guy was tiny. Yeah,
with the Yankees in 05.
We've brought him up before. Played for the Mets for a little bit. Played for the Red Sox.
Freddie?
No.
I'm drawing a blank.
It is.
Oh, Ray
Sanchez. Yeah.
That's right. Ray Sanchez.
Yep. And then how about this?
It's hurt in 21 and 22. I'm not drawing a blank.
This is a kid that Pedro thought was going to be like the next up and coming kid because he had like Pedro like stuff, but
he's got he's like a funny two-part first name, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It's Sixto
Sanchez. Oh, that's right. Sixto Sanchez.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's they got another guy coming up who's got a longer first name. I can't think of who it is now, but probably not a Sanchez.
Crazy. But yeah.
Those were awesome.
Yeah, those were fun. Those are fun to put together for me too.
Oh,
so
man.
I have a whole list of them, so I'll put in some more at some point during the off season. So
yeah,
those
were fun.
Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else tonight. Do you have anything else?
I've got a quick one here. The Phillies announced some personnel moves in the front office today. I think these are kind of cool. So Sam Fuld from Durham, New Hampshire, a guy that I used to hit in the batting cages with back when he was a year ahead of me in high school. Sam Fuld has been the VP and general manager of the Phillies. He's actually pursuing his MBA at Pennsylvania's Wharton School. And when he graduates in May of 2026, he's going to become the president of business operations. To allow Sam Fuld to focus on his studies and everything else, they're going to split his job. And Preston Mattingly's been named the VP and general manager. And they made some other moves in the front office. But the Phillies, I believe, will be the first front office to actually split the general manager's duties between baseball and business ops. And they're doing that a little early to allow Sam, I shouldn't say doing it early, but they're bringing more support in to let Sam finish his degree, position him to take over that role in 26 by bringing Preston Mattingly up now. So interesting that, that they're kind of allowing him that opportunity. It also shows how highly they think of Sam Fuld, who, if you remember, was interviewing for jobs last year and decided to stay. I don't think he actually took any interviews. He said he was going to, then backed off and said he was going to stay. But Dombrowski and that front office love him, and pretty cool to see a New Hampshire boy continue to rise through the ranks of Major League Baseball and take on a bigger and more important role with the Phillies.
And it's always good to have two minds in one position. You know what I mean? Right. Bounce ideas off each other, and it's smart. He's only making himself better.
Exactly. And it's like I said when we talked about Buster Posey, like my fear with Buster Posey and the Giants was like the general manager, president of baseball whatever you want to call that role. Like you run game day operations, minor league operations, that's being the general manager or the president of baseball ops or chief baseball officer, whatever title they come up with today. That is a huge job.
Yeah.
And you're not just working the roster, like you're dealing with the front office staff and the game day staff and the game day operations and the media and marketing. Like you're doing everything. You're running the business of baseball. Seeing that split, I think for some of these bigger organizations and bigger markets makes a lot of sense because that's a lot to put on somebody. And it's hard to find somebody who can do both really well. Some of these guys are great baseball guys. Some of these are great operations guys. It's not easy to find that split. And I think the Marlins last year with Kim Ng, she was a great operator, but she wasn't as great on the baseball side.
Yeah.
And that was part of the rub she had is they wanted to bring a GM to fill that role. And she was like, well, no. They're like, well, you're not really good at it. They were trying to do it and it didn't work out.
Right.
That's a big job. And I think it's cool to see the Phillies thinking about how do we split this in a way where we put people in the right spots, make our front office better. And it's cool that Sam Fuld, the New Hampshire boy, is one of the reasons they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right. Anything else?
I think that's it. It was kind of a quiet baseball week, but I'm hoping it doesn't stay that way very long.
Yeah, I want this Soto news to drop like yesterday. Someone just come in and be like, "Hey, $826 million. Just is that fine?"
Okay. Yeah, here's $1 trillion. Sign here.
Yep, sign here. But yeah, all right. Well, thanks for joining us in the chat, helping Harrison with the trivia questions. We always love the interactions when you guys come and comment on our live shows. So thanks a lot for helping out and dropping by and watching us. Before you go, please follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be on next Monday at 8 p.m.
Sounds good.